Thank you. Good morning. Please stand if you are able. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God. And I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I am here to learn. Yes, I am here to live. Yes, I am here to be the love of God. Yes, I am here to learn. Yes, I am here to live. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God. And I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I know forevermore that I am loved. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God, of God, my God, of God, my God.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's join in our tradition of sharing the signs and words of God's peace with those around you, beginning by saying them together. And remember, you're doing the response to the two that have a call and response. So, shalom.
Shalom.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalam.
Closer.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Paz.
Paz.
Peace be with you.
And also with you. Peace.
Greet one another. That's another one. Yeah, or love. As most of you know, I'm Reverend Vicky Elder, and it is my joy and honor to welcome you to Unity of Monterey Bay, a beloved community co-created with love and intention that welcomes all people, all races, nationalities, cultures, and religions. Whatever your immigration status, sexual orientation, gender identity, family configuration, and or abilities. Whether you're here with us in person or joining us virtually, we know that love knows no boundaries. We are one in spirit. As a purpose-driven church, Unity of Monterey Bay is an inclusive spiritual community committed to co-creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. We celebrate our oneness and honor the God of each of our understanding, affirming the innate good and divine essence within each and every individual. Would you please join me in our statement of faith? There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, intimate God beside us, inner God being us, divine love in action. And as we allow this knowing to deepen within our souls and serve to awaken us into enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings, we share this blessing prayer by Glenn Carty. Blessed are those who include. Blessed are those who include and those asking to be, pushing our boundaries, inviting us to enlarge our minds and our hearts so all might belong. Blessed is the long rutted road from a path of privileges to a forest of pathways from what was to will be, walking from security to uncertainty. Blessed it will be the little encouragements, shared scroggin, a song, smiles, a night shelter, and friendships that endure beyond the bounds of time. Blesses as it happened. A fork came, one path clear, the other not, one way with rewards. Yet we were following a thread, or so we hoped, and clung on to grace. Blessed are those who include, and those asking to be, paths crossing, hurts, respect given, held. It can be a long road, this winding life. And now let us affirm together. Thank you, God, for this most amazing day. Miracle follows miracle, and wonders never cease. It's the first Sunday of May, and you all know what that means. It's May birthdays, so if your birthday falls in May, which includes both my grandson and my son, come on up. If you missed a birthday in April or March and didn't get your blessing, you're welcome to come on.
My daughter Victoria. Woohoo! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, you're wonderful. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you, you're wonderful. God is blessing you now. Woohoo, happy birthday. 80.
80 looks great.
Woo. Looking good.
And so now, as we do every week, and if we forget, we go back and do it, we now celebrate and bless the children, all those in our families and our spiritual community, as well as our larger community, all the children in the world, as well as that inner child that lives within each of us. We open our hearts wide and we see them protected and resilient, creative and evolving, joyous and loved as we join in our heartfelt blessing. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you just the way you are.
This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So now it's time for us to take a deep breath in and let it out with an audible sigh. Let's do that together. Breathing in and let it out. As we center ourselves to embrace this blissful interconnection with Spirit, and we invite the chime to call us into the sacred space within. We ring the chime 4 times to call in the 4 directions and remind us of our interconnection with all of creation and with the sacred circle of life. As we feel it resonate through our very beings, we follow its call into this now present moment within. Focusing on our breath, with each inhale, we open our hearts and minds. We envision our breath reaching every cell of our being. And with each exhale, we see all barriers and obstacles dissolving into the divine flow. And again, as we inhale, we expand the spaciousness within us. We move beyond the limitations and boundaries of our bodies, and as we exhale, we ground ourselves deep within Mother Earth and into our oneness with the universe. Finally, we breathe our awareness into the highest expression of love, light, joy, and peace we can imagine, as we experience a transforming wave of gratitude. And with a fullness of heart, we say yes to it all, embracing, claiming, and knowing the divine Christ Spirit expressing in, through, and as us. So now with a final exhale, we say, thank you, God. Now fully centered and transformed by the power of Spirit, we enter into our lesson and meditation time with today's daily word.
We read from the May 14th Daily Word, shared with permission of Unity, publisher of Daily Word, that can also be found at dailyword.com. And the word is inner peace. The ever-present presence of God is my peace. Even in the midst of chaos or upset, I have the power to claim peace and live it. I can be the calm center of any storm, not because I pretend things are fine when they're not, but because I understand there is a greater reality beyond my senses. To maintain my equilibrium, I rise above my concerns by turning to the Christ presence within. There, I rest in the timeless peace of God. In this sacred space, I feel the fullness of my faith as I relax and surrender my concerns. I begin to discern my guidance. The presence of God within me knows all things, sees all the ways through, and is in the solution to any problem I could ever have. God is here, there, and everywhere, all the time. This is the source of my peace. And from the scriptures, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8.
Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference, just me and you. Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference, just me and you. Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference, just me and you. Peaceful people, peaceful planet. We are the difference, just me and you. We are the difference. We are the difference. We are the difference. Just me and you. What did he say?
Thank you. In witness to the wisdom of the many paths to the sacred, we read from 3 sacred traditions on this morning's topic, Ahisma. From Buddhism, the essence of nonviolence is love. Out of love and the willingness to act selflessly, strategies, tactics, and techniques for a nonviolent struggle arise naturally. From Jainism, non-injury to all living beings is the only religion. In happiness and suffering, in joy and grief, we should regard all creatures as we regard our own self, and should therefore refrain from inflicting upon others such injury as would appear undesirable to us if inflicted upon ourselves. From Jainism and Christianity. He has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Micah chapter 6, verse 8.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. In this moment, there is only love.
Well, that's the lesson, not only of today, but of every day. That was beautiful. Thank you. So this morning's topic was inspired by a blog post I read entitled, "One Little Word, a Lifetime Spiritual Practice." The blogger is Rick Schumacher, who I knew I recognized that name, but I'd never taken time to actually track it down until I read this particular blog. And he's actually a Unity minister, which is why I knew him. And he's also a college professor. And the one little word is Ahisma, ahimsa. Got to say it right. Ahimsa, which is Sanskrit for non-injury or non-harming. Well, I was familiar with the word. I had never done a deep dive into the concept, but Schumacher's post suggesting that, rightly understood and diligently practiced, ahimsa just might be a pathway out of the discord, division, and dissension that plagues our world today. And that captured my attention because I'm open to anything and everything that might help us heal and move out of. And what we know is it's love. That's the answer, but as human beings, we need to find multiple ways to share that, to speak it, so that because it touches us all differently, and at different times in our lives, it touches us differently. And then, of course, as often happens when I have a topic, supportive stuff just keeps coming in, the law of attraction. So reading the Center for Action and Contemplation's Wednesday meditation on breathing in love and breathing out fear, which I spoke about in my minister's message this week, inspired me to explore how this ancient Indian ethical and spiritual principle, ahimsa, in English we don't usually put an MS in that order, so I have to keep reminding myself, ahimsa, might offer additional insights into overcoming fear by more fully embracing love. According to Wikipedia, ahimsa is the ancient Indian ethical principle of nonviolence, spurred by the philosophical belief that all living beings possess a divine spiritual spark, making compassion essential and harm karmically damaging. Rooted in the Vedas and refined by Jainism and Buddhism, it emphasizes that injuring others harms oneself, promoting non-injury in action, speech, and thought. Historically, the Vedic era, from 1500 to 600 BCE, before the Common Era, what we used to call before Christ, was characterized by complex sacrificial rituals performed by Brahmins to appease deities and maintain cosmic order. Between 800 and 500 BCE, however, growing dissatisfaction with the complex rituals, the exclusivity of the Brahmins, the rigid caste system, and the materialistic focus of religious practices led to intellectual and spiritual unrest, and a discontent that paved the way for the rise of heterodox sects that rejected Vedic authority. Buddhism and Jainism, both emerging in the 6th century BCE, responded to these challenging spiritual needs, emphasizing ethical living, self-discipline, nonviolence, which is ahimsa, and inner transformation, and offering egalitarian paths accessible to all, regardless of social class. Ahimsa is fundamentally attributed to Jainism. I learned more about Jainism than I've ever known before in this study, because while all three, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, practice ahimsa, Jainism is the one that adopted it as its foundational principle. It serves as the cornerstone of its ethics and doctrine and is the first of their 5 vows, mandating that one must not ever injure, abuse, or kill any living being, including animals, plants, and microorganisms, in thought, word, or deed. To tell you how strictly they do this, they don't eat root plants, because if you pull the root out, the whole plant dies, and it disrupts all the microorganisms and such as well in the dirt. So when you can take the plant off eat off the top and the plant keeps growing, then those are acceptable. But So they take this very seriously. Jainism also emphasizes strict asceticism, which involves a rigorous, voluntary lifestyle aimed at purifying the soul by shedding karma through extreme self-discipline and renunciation of possessions. Buddhism, which offers a middle way, I never quite understood what that middle way stood for. Well, it advocates a balanced path between the extremes of Vedic ritualism, which were very materialistic, and severe asceticism that the Jains adopted. It also adopted ahimsa as a central ethical tenet, though views it through the lens of compassionate, intentional non-harming to reduce suffering versus the rigid taboos that Jainism follows. The challenge from these, a lot of these letters, whenever you get into Sanskrit and Hindu, are very different for our English speaking, but Shramana-based sects ultimately prompted Hindu thinkers to also evaluate, leading to the incorporation of doctrines like karma, reincarnation, and aesthetic ideals into the Upanishadic traditions. I'm going to get past these words. Additionally, ahimsa was elevated to a key, though not absolute, tenet of ethical yogic conduct. Schumacher describes 4 core principles. Got to remember to turn this on. Of ahimsa: total harmlessness, universal scope, positive action, and karmic consequences. Total harmlessness means ahimsa is not just about refraining from physical violence, but also includes avoiding harmful speech, like gossip or insults, and mental states, like hatred or malice. Schumacher notes most of us will never participate in physical violence, but some of us might be drawn to harmful speech when things are not going our way, or we feel threatened in some way. Now, I know none of us here ever fall down that I tell you, sometimes baseball games can get me there, so. But I actually think that this ethical restraint goes beyond gossip and insults and reactions. For example, Jainism's second vow is truth-telling, which is a commitment to not lie. Falsehood is considered a form of violence because it stems from passions like anger, greed, or fear. Nevertheless, within this practice, any truth told must be harmless. In other words, if telling a truth is not compassionate or might cause harm, pain, or death to a living being, one should remain silent. Which makes me view this principle more in terms of the Buddhist perspective and precept of right speech, notably also referred to as wise or virtuous speech, with the word right not implying a moral judgment to be contrasted with bad or wrong, but meaning leading to happiness for oneself and others. Imagine if we held that concept. Does this lead to the happiness of myself and others before we ever spoke? I know that would make me pause often. In other words, we need to be mindful versus careless, thoughtless, offhand, using unconscious words that just come out when we're not being present and mindful about what would bring happiness to myself and others. Those are more likely for me where my feelings come versus in the anger and reaction such. It's in that unconscious moment. And the second is that the intention must also be leading to happiness for oneself and others versus being right. That's it. And that right is not used in the Buddhist way. Most of us, we want to be right, and we enter into an argument or into a discussion just because we want to be right about our own beliefs and such. And that doesn't lead to our own happiness, or sometimes it can make us feel happy, but it's a false happiness because it isn't deep and lasting. It's just in the moment of feeling like we won. Both areas are places that I can use extra attention and extra practice and build into my spiritual practice. And it also carries over to our mental states. Because as Schumacher points out, behind all speech is a thought or an aggregation of thoughts that are harmful to our own ever-changing mental states. Even if we don't speak the words, if we're holding them in our mind, they're still affecting our consciousness. And because, as Unity teaches, our thoughts create our reality, when we hold those kinds of thoughts, it results in our unhappiness and or our suffering, and that often can just then flow out to those around us. Schumacher suggests that the first step in practicing ahimsa might be to seal the lips. He notes especially of our national and world leaders, so that harmful speech just couldn't occur. Clearly, there's no mistaking how the intentional use of cruel, rude, hateful, deceitful, and gaslighting communication has undermined the health and well-being of our society. So imagine how the practice of ahimsa could help us heal individually and collectively if we all were just more thoughtful about the words we speak and the thoughts we hold in consciousness. The second principle is universal scope, which means ahimsa applies to all sentient beings, from humans to the smallest insects and plants, though there are degrees in application. As I explained, in Jainism, it's held very strictly, and it's a higher standard for their priests than for the regular population, but the intention is to never do any harm, even by accident. So the priests walk with a really soft brush and brush the ground in front of them as they walk, just in case there might be some little creature on the pathway that they might unconsciously step on. So they spend a lot of focused time on how not to do any harm, whether it's intentional or unintentional. Whereas Buddhism focuses more heavily on intention, with karmic consequences linked to the intent to harm rather than something happening by accident. I still remember our retreats at the Land of Medicine Buddha, where we were encouraged to call the office if we needed a spider or any other little critter removed from our rooms so that we wouldn't kill them. Somehow, I could never quite get there with mosquitoes. You know, it's like automatic. I've already slapped before I go, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. But just the thinking about it at that level changes our consciousness. Just becoming aware that we're connected to all of life, even though all of life also is in a cycle of life and death, just raising our consciousness enough to realize that we impact the world around us has a major effect. Admittedly, either of these approaches can seem overwhelming to us, thinking about every aspect of our lives. But as Schumacher notes, we have more than enough opportunities to practice ahimsa without including the smallest insects and plants. It's sort of that thing where when you say, well, we need to practice forgiveness, and we go to the hardest one and say, well, I could never go there. Well, but there are lots before that. I mean, we could change our lives a lot without ever even getting to considering the insects to practice ahimsa. Additionally, especially when it comes to respecting Earth, but also in situations like war where we have no direct power to stop it, the Buddhist practice of being with the suffering can also be powerful and transforming. Rather than shutting it out, rather than saying, no, I don't want to think about that, creating space and time to sit with it, even when I know I can't change the outcome in this moment, to open my heart enough that I can feel the pain, that I can feel the suffering, that tears come to my eyes, whether it's looking at a clear-cut forest or a dammed-up river or the wars that are going on around the world or the internment camps that we're creating right here at home. They bring up tears, and I don't spend all of my time there because that doesn't serve either, but I create space and time to open my heart and mind, and I think we all need to feel that suffering so that we stay connected, and that will help change the consciousness of the world. Because most of the time we'd rather not think about suffering, right? That's why we turn off the news and such. It's an interesting balance to walk of staying aware and connected to the world without letting the algorithms of the news control our consciousness. The third principle is positive action. And it also spans a spectrum from the absolute and universal behaviors and adherence of Jainism to the restrictions against harm, to the Buddhist focus on right action, namely cultivating compassion for and minimizing the suffering of all beings. Practically speaking, beyond abstaining from causing harm, right action includes things like actively cultivating compassion, kindness, and empathy that often results in influencing and informing our ethical choices, like what we choose to eat and avoiding harmful professions. The second, refraining from stealing, or more to the point for most of us, wasting. Ahimsa sees waste in the same way of stealing. We're actually stealing from Mother Earth. And so to become conscious about how we use things and not being wasteful, it becomes a very important aspect, and again brings us into much more consciousness about how we're walking in our world. It also talks about avoiding sexual misconduct and avoiding the consumption of intoxicants that cloud the mind. I got this concept of why they're to not drink or use drugs and such from a very different perspective as I was reading these things and looking at that, because rather than it just being not putting impurities into our bodies or something, if the demand is to be mindful, if the demand is to be present in all moments, we all know that even with a drink or two, we lose that capacity to a smaller to larger degree. So the abstinence from mind-altering drugs are so we can stay mindful. And third, practicing inner nonviolence. For example, clearing the mind of hatred, greed, and anger, and cultivating forgiveness, understanding, and generosity of spirit. So you can imagine if we focus on right action, not just doing nice things when the opportunity happens to show up and we can, hold the door open for someone, but looking for ways that we can be present and caring about not only other beings, but our Mother Earth. Schumacher reminds us that the media thrives on bad news and online algorithms that drive us deeper into a spiritual abyss. So if we want to see and experience more positive actions and ahimsa in the world, we need to practice and express it in our own lives and our own worlds. And as we know, the law of attraction, the more we do that, the more we'll witness it happening around us. It's not just us. It is going on many places in the world, but that's not what gets covered by the news. And the news, unfortunately, is what is controlling a lot of our consciousness and putting us in reactive modes rather than in proactive modes. Finally, number 4 is karmic consequences. Schumacher explains that from the view of Indian philosophy, violence is believed to result in negative karmic consequences, while practicing ahimsa is a path toward spiritual liberation. He notes that this seems to suggest a fear-based avoidance of retribution approach to ahimsa that he doesn't necessarily agree with. Without real understanding of how these traditions understand karma, however, I'm wondering if that perspective is based more on our own Christian traditions teaching about hell being a punishment rather than understanding the concept of karma. Personally, I understand karmic consequences more in terms of our own law of mind action, as in what we put out naturally comes back. There's no being up there that is punishing us for those thoughts. The world does it of its own. Our thoughts create our reality, as we teach. What we put out naturally comes back to us because those are the kinds of thoughts we're holding. If we're thinking that people are awful and nobody cares, what are we going to witness in the world is we're going to focus on those situations that prove that we're right, rather than seeing and if we flip it and we're looking for kindness and we're offering kindness, then we'll notice lots of activities of kindness around us. And if reincarnation is a reality, which I'm open to, but I'm not certain of, the process likely does extend into future lifetimes, only because it's the same soul continuing to grow. So karma is not a punishment, but as the ever-present call to spiritual growth and understanding that it's always operating much like logical consequences when we're raising our children. Rather than punishing them, allowing logical consequences becomes one of the most powerful teachers there is. As one writer put it, karma is a neutral cosmic mirror, ensuring balance by teaching responsibility and fostering inner growth. It's like the universe asking, how's that working for you? It's the cosmic, how's that working for you question that invites us to be willing to learn from our mistakes and give out what we most want to receive. In essence, to live the golden rule. I think in all of my research, one of the best overall definitions I found for ahimsa came from the website yogawithadrian.com. She says, nonviolence towards oneself and all living creatures, an attitude of universal benevolence, the spontaneous expression of the highest form of love, and the complete absence of violence from mind, body, and spirit. Adrian also emphasizes that ahimsa is about recognizing that nonviolence begins within. It's not about reacting to the world. It requires us to go within and eliminate our own ego, anger, and negative tendencies, rather than seeking outside answers. So now back to my original quest, exploring how ahimsa might help us develop the perfect love that casts out fear. And I realized that that point has two components. One, how ahimsa teaches us to love, and two, how love casts out fear. In a culture that uses the word love and hate for a multitude of feelings, ahimsa offers a very clear description of and call for love in action in the form of compassion. In short, as we have just discussed, ahimsa is about actively cultivating compassion, empathy, and kindness in all areas of our lives, which means not only loving those we are close to, but loving everyone, or even those who we feel most put off by. But more than that, it offers specific guidelines and practices that expand on and cultivate how we can love one another, which is the commandment that our tradition offers, and how we can do that explicitly, which helps clarify the development and practice of perfect love, which, as Schumacher notes in his blog title, is a lifetime practice. And that brings me full circle back to my minister's message, and how all that is going on in our nation and our world is providing me with lots of opportunities and motivation to focus my attention on my spiritual path, seeking guidance and greater understanding about what is mine to do. And honestly, more basically, practicing letting go of the fear that arises each morning as my brain begins to speculate about what might have happened now, or each time I hear or read a new headline. The good news is my spiritual practice is working as long as I work it. That's always true, right? We can know these truths if we don't practice them, if we don't live them, they don't do us a lot of good. For example, I have learned to not allow myself to check the news first thing upon awakening, when the brain is in the neuroplastic window where we are more open to external input than at any other time of the day. Do you know that first 5 or 10 minutes, they say, will basically program the rest of your day based on what you bring into your consciousness during those 5-10 minutes, because our brain is the most plastic and the most able to be influenced. So what I've learned to do is, as soon as I wake up and I'm starting to open my eyes, I reach for the daily word. Or I read, not always and sometimes I read the Center for Action and Contemplation Meditation. Sometimes I even do a word game on my computer, which is still focused on just being present in the moment. Meaning I choose to begin the day, each day, embracing love, not fear. And that has made a powerful shift in how I move through the rest of the day. It's interesting if you just say no to that ego mind saying, what's happened now? That wants to pull me. I'm able to go an hour or more before I need to feel like, and usually it isn't that I go check, it's that something sort of, I get in my car and I have NPR on and news comes to me. But it's an amazing process how if we set up these choices and activate them, that they can really influence our entire day and our lives. And when the news does hit my consciousness and I shift into some of that concern or anger or whatever, I shift again by, as my E. Bless said, breathing in love and breathing out fear. And I breathe in love and breathe out fear until I can breathe in peace and breathe out love. As Bass notes, the breath is a divine reset. It's kind of miraculous that way. And I love thinking about it as a divine reset that invites me into God's presence and that sense of love rather than whatever the world is trying to trick me or pull me into. And like Bass, I can't really explain why in words that it works, but I know that it does from experience. My spiritual awakening into the presence of divine love, this was a wake-up call for me, 60 plus years ago when I computed how long ago that was, brought a profound sense of peace to a very chaotic time in my life, a peace that has never really left me, a peace that I can always go back to. And some years later, when I was exposed to the idea that the opposite of fear is love, and the opposite of love is fear, not hate, I immediately knew it was true. I was studying A Course in Miracles, a study that was prompted by Rory's first cancer diagnosis, which, as you might imagine, that definitely involves some fear. And this truth settled in me, creating a shift from anxious helplessness to a calm, grounded clarity. I think what I realized is that it's all an inside job. Regardless of outer conditions and circumstances, I get to choose whether I live in the house of fear or the house of love. Perfect love casts out fear because perfect love is God. And where God and love abide, fear cannot exist. Breathe in love, breathe out fear. Breathe in peace, breathe out love. Perfect love casts out fear. Namaste.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy.
So taking a few moments to arrive now, arriving here in our bodies, arriving into this present moment, into this sacred space. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable. And quickly scanning through your body and noticing if you have your shoulders hunched or your jaw clenched. Just let your shoulders relax back and down. Unclench your jaw. Let your brow be unfurrowed and smooth. And let your hands rest gently in your lap in a comfortable, effortless position. And just begin to tune in to your body and to your presence here this morning. And just notice what's here. Notice how today's lesson is landing in your heart, in your mind, in your body. Notice what emotions may be present for you this morning, or sensations in your body, and see if you can just allow it all to be just as it is. Welcoming everything, resisting nothing. Just being in the present moment. As you continue to drop down more into your body, feeling the way your body is supported by the surface beneath you, the way gravity is holding you in place. Allowing your energy to ground down, to become still and peaceful. And now finding an awareness of your breath. First, just noticing how the air comes in through your nose and goes out through your nose. And start deepening your breath now so that you're breathing in more deeply and exhaling a little more slowly. Again, breathing in and exhaling out, letting go. Taking one more deep belly breath in, expanding your breath on the intake. And then exhaling and sighing it out. Just feeling your nervous system beginning to calm. As you rest in this place of stillness, this peace that is beyond all human understanding, because it is of God. And we are now in the presence of God. Awake and aware of our own presence, of the presence of all those around us, of this energy of love and spirit that is moving through us, between and among us, as we rest here in this sacred moment. This is the well of deep peace that we can drink from anytime we wish. We can come back here whenever we need to find this place of pure love, pure being, and pure peace. So I invite you now to drop just a little more fully into this moment. Rest here and drink from this well of peace in the silence.
May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy.
And before before we release this place, I invite you to just tap in for a moment to the heart space and just notice what your deepest wish is for this world, for your loved ones, for yourself, for all beings. Just let whatever that deepest wish is bubble up, and know that as you wish it, it is going out into the world to do its mighty work. And so we gently bring this time to a close with our hearts filled with gratitude for this time spent together, for this community that accepts us wherever we are on our spiritual journey, and for the loving presence of God that is always available to us. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen.
Unity of Monterey Bay's collective consciousness and commitment of all of us who give of our time, treasure, and talent in order to sustain the spiritual community that is dedicated to transforming lives. We know that prosperity is a state of mind that finds blessings in every situation and abundance in joyous generosity. We transform all appearances of fear or lack into a faith-filled peace of mind by shifting our attention to thoughts of gratitude for the abundance of God's good in our lives. As the ushers please come forward, I invite you to think of something specific that you are grateful for in this now moment. And now, with our hearts and minds overflowing with gratitude, we breathe into the divine flow of God's good, trusting that we are enough, that we have enough, and that there always is enough to both have and to share. For those of you who give online through our website, have set up monthly auto payments from your bank, or give by credit card, we are truly grateful. But we ask with this time, when we pass the baskets this morning, by holding and blessing the basket as it passes to you. And now, please join me in our offertory blessing. I am an open channel for God's infinite good. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies everything I give and everything I receive. I am both blessed and a blessing. Thank you, God.
I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel peace inside. In every breath, peace abides. I know the joy of peace. I choose fear to release. Every moment, love wakes up, and peace is every step. I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel peace inside. In every breath, peace abides. I know the joy of peace. I choose fear to release. Every moment, love wakes up, and peace is every step. Peace is every step. Peace is every step.
It's the ushers would now come forward.
They're almost ready.
So it is with great joy that we bless and give thanks for these gifts and offerings that demonstrate our collective commitment to the spiritual work of love and transformation in our lives and in our world. We dedicate this offering, our lives, and this ministry to more fully expressing the Christ light that is the truth of our being and inviting all people to know God's love. Finally, knowing that one with God, all things are possible, we affirm together that the good is now,
the rest is blessed,
and the best is yet to be in our lifetime. Gently. Thank you, ushers. And for our awesome music today, we want to thank Bodie Kevin Sechko, Karen Drucker, Reverend Michael Gott, Richard Berkner, Regina Best, and Daniel Namod. And of course, our awesome music team. Yay! For announcements, please check your e-blast. It's time to begin thinking about our spring and summer dinners. So you can sign up if you want to host one in the sacred grounds, and this can be anything you want, day or night, then formal or not, big or small, whatever theme, whatever kind of food you choose, you create the whole event. If you have any questions about what that looks like, you can talk to Vicky or myself or one of our board members. But we always have a wonderful time at these events, so looking forward to that coming up. Quilts by the Bay. Our own Martha, who is becoming quite the quilter extraordinaire, has 2 of her quilts on display at Good Old Days in PG. At Chautauqua Hall. Today's the last day to see them. So, and there's pictures of them on her Facebook page too, if you'd like to see that. Are they for sale or? No. They're going into the archives. Okay. Alrighty. Next Sunday, so we have this group that is not affiliated with our church, but is using our space to hold a monthly Death Cafe meeting, which is basically an informal discussion about issues of death and dying, planning for death, helping a loved one to go through death, things like that. They meet on the second Sunday of the month, which this month just happens to fall on Mother's Day. So that may not be something you want to do on Mother's Day, but just to let you know that it is happening and that all are welcome. If you have any questions about that. Yes, she's going to focus on, and I went to the first meeting last month. God, has it already been a month? And it's a really beautiful, Lori Wheeler, who also attends our church, is the leader of that group, and she's a wonderful facilitator, and it's just a lot of very deep felt sharing, very safe space to share things that you might be going through, or fears, or things that, you want to work through about issues of death. And I know they're going to be sharing about mothers and mothering and their own mothers and things like that on Mother's Day. So that is from 2 to 3:30. I think that's it. As we bring our service to a close this morning, we're just so grateful that you've joined us, whether you're here in person with us, joining us on our Facebook Live, or watching later on our YouTube channel. We're just glad you found us. We hope we made you feel at home in our Unity community. And we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. If it's your first time with us, we invite you to get a newcomer packet on your way out, and there is a form on the outside of there that you can fill out. If you'd like to hear from us, and get on our e-blast, you can do that on that form and then just, hand it to someone. I don't know. Find someone to give it to that looks official. Give it to one of our ushers. That would be awesome. Alrighty, our chaplain today is Robin. She's available to pray with you after the service. So thank you, Robin, and thank you to all of our chaplains for holding the high watch and always holding all of those prayer requests that come into our church in prayer. All right, before we form our closing circle, let's do our responsive reading for our nation. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. We believe in the sacred potential of our country and the divine intelligence guiding its path.
We affirm that wisdom, compassion, and justice are rising in the hearts of all people.
In a world that cries out for healing, we listen deeply for spiritual truth.
We open to the wisdom that leads to wholeness for all.
We do not surrender to fear, division, or despair.
We anchor ourselves in faith, courage, and shared humanity.
We call forth leaders who are guided by integrity and vision.
We affirm solutions that uplift both personal freedom and collective care.
May this nation grow in love, unity, and awakening.
And may we each be instruments of peace, justice, and joy.
Lord, hear our prayer, and may it be so. All right, let's form our closing circle.
Amen.
All the people said amen. I'm just going to get my thing out right now so I don't forget. Otherwise, I'll forget. Do you want to say it since you were here? Okay. I don't remember what it was all about. Oh, your hands are so warm.
Yeah, I don't see
Sorry, my
Susan.
hands
I
are
don't see
freezing.
Susan here today. But for all of you who donated to the Visa cards for the victims of, I forget the name of the apartment complex, but Casanova fire, and Susan thought it was 4. Actually, 5 people have moved into the housing apartments where she lives. Rippling River. And so she asked us if we could make donations, and we did that and provided enough for 4 cards. I guess it got divided a little less, but it was 4 cards of $85 each that, you know, Susan couldn't know the names and such, so she gave the cards to the appropriate people who distributed them to the individuals in that complex. And so she wanted us to thank everybody for participating in that, and we're grateful for her giving us the opportunity.
Yeah. Amen.
All right. Well, in that spirit of community and generosity, we just hold all of those that are on our hearts this morning in this circle of prayer, all those on our prayer list. You could call out their names if there's someone you have on your heart this morning that needs to be lifted up in prayer, or you can just say it to yourself. And so we see all of these beings surrounded in God's love. We see all things unfolding in perfect divine order for the highest good of all involved. Please join me in our prayer for protection. The light
Our
of
God surrounds us. I am light.
The
Love of God enfolds us. I am love.
The
Power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.